is, can the mainstream be saved? What do you think, Otter? You're our guest. I would like to hear you speak before Joe gives his
the mainstream, Otter. Steel man him.
Oh God. So
And then we'll clip it.
We also didn't prep him, so
yeah, I'm really not prepped for this answer. Well, I sort of see the indies as the new alternative mainstream, if that makes any sense. The mainstream is kind of on its way out. It's sticking too dogmatically to a dying formula, and we're seeing the pretty well
drastic financial consequences. Yeah.
Yes. So,
What?
I don't know. I see the Iron Age. I see Comicsgate. I see a lot of these indie published movements as sort of the alternative that will eventually become what you would call the new mainstream. But I mean that in the most positive way I can, because
That's true.
I do think there will always be a mainstream. It's just the way who's in charge, who's running things, and what is being promoted and shown it would have to transform drastically for it to get any semblance of what it once was.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that the question's a little off, right? Because mainstream is mainstream. It's more about who is in the mainstream currently, and it's like the current people in mainstream. Are they going to die? Probably. Like, and that's when we're thinking, the big Disney or whatever's in the mainstream right now, right? So yeah, but it's just like you kind of, in order to be big, you need to be mainstream. So seeing an indie like becoming the mainstream is just super unlikely. One of the things we could maybe see is something like a Brandon Sanderson go to the mainstream, like more like the kind of like the AA games, how they're kind of like ruling gaming right now.
Well, in effect, Sanderson has become one of the biggest in that dimension, because he has his traditionally published books, but he has like 5 secret projects that he wrote in his spare time, as writers always have. And he had the most successful campaign, like one of the most successful campaigns on Kickstarter of all time. Like not just books, but of anything. Like it was like over $40 million. It was something like, for books. He didn't tell people the names. He didn't tell you what they were about. He had 4 very small 2 color sample images, one for each book, and he sold over $40 million on Kickstarter. That's freaking insane. The man has pretty much he could become his own publisher, and I think we're already kind of seeing that with Eric in the Rippaverse. Whatever Comicsgate guys may say in regards to that, it doesn't matter. He is becoming his own publisher. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that in the upcoming future. Yes.
Well, I think more than anything, it's about creating your own niche and sticking to it and learning how to play to your strengths. Because the reputation you're going to be building, especially as a creator, it's going to center around what you end up putting out. And the best way to do that is to, of course, you're going to be making friends, learning about different editing styles, ways of creating videos, marketing what you have. But what it really comes down to is being yourself and being honest with yourself. And if you can do that, I think you're going to get one of the most honest followings out there. I think a lot of the best creators that are big right now are kind of sticking to that. The ones who aren't blatant sellouts anyway.
Yeah. And it is especially something in a space like YouTube, there is a element of performance art. I view it almost like the old wrestling WWE back in the day. We all we all are on YouTube. We all kind of at least most people play a caricature of themselves. It may be very similar, but it is a caricature with a performance art kind of expectation.
Hey, real quick before it's gone, with Brian McCoffin's comment about Disney remaking Ernest, Disney kind of made Ernest, but then they dropped it to a different project.
Is that true?
Yeah. They the first film Ernest Goes Camp was Disney published or released or what have you.
Yeah.
There is not an Ernest theme park. Absolutely not. That's a lie.
You got to have a Gene vest to get in.
Oh, bro, I'm done. I like it could be true too, because there were a lot of bad theme parks back in the day. It could easily be true.
I think we're going to see the mainstream get almost completely decentralized with a bunch of powerhouse islands, so to speak, fortress IPs. That's what I'll call it, fortress IPs. And you can imagine a fortress in the middle of an ocean, and it kind of like gets wider at the base until it kind of dissolves into the ocean, and you got waves lapping up with like fresh sand as people try to like struggle to latch on and find purchase.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of breaking it down, because one of the best ways you can really have it is having it be somewhat decentralized, and then there's that element of friendly competition, because that way you are competing to make a better story or a better creation. So in the end, everybody's winning in some way, shape, or form. Everybody benefits from that.
Right.
Son of a bitch.
That felt right.
Yeah.
Justin, what do you think, man? What do you think about the mainstream?
Yeah, I feel like there's aspects of it that will be savable, and we'll see a righting of the ship where they're going to start doing things that we used to love. And you'll get 10, 15, maybe 20% movies that are like, oh, this is great. And they just tuck in a little bit of messaging or a little bit of this and that. And the vast majority of people are like, oh, what? Really? Oh, okay, whatever. And they just kind of go along to get along. And the rest of the people, as we've seen, if it's good enough, they'll forgive a lot. And I think you'll see it going slightly past that forgive a lot to we'll forgive, and it's just they slip it in, and it just gets more the way that they probably should have approached it with their messaging to begin with. For some reason, man, they went whole hog. They were like, "Here's our opening."
Well, I don't think money is the main motivator. If it was, different decisions would be made. Because like so many, like the path that they're on has been bleeding money for like kind of almost a decade now. And so like
100% a communist agenda. Like if you go follow, I forgot there's some person that made a roadmap of how to achieve communism or whatever, and it's like literally one of the first steps is
Mussolini,
to like make
Karl
terrible
Marx.
art. No, but after
Karl
that,
Mussolini.
Yeah, like the first step is like to make terrible art.
It takes so many years to indoctrinate the public to accept communism, and that's done through the arts.
Yep.
The thing is, a lot of the people who originally orchestrated this whole artistic movement, the creators in power now are like the grandsons and granddaughters who
nepotism, and they didn't earn it, and now they're just trying to ride on the coattails.
They didn't earn it. I sincerely believe the original orchestrators of these communist movements didn't really know what they were doing either, but they were more well read than who's in power now. So a lot of the subtlety's been lost. A lot of the art has been lost. So it's just bad art now.
Yeah, you bring up a big point. It's a bunch of Nepo babies kind of running it and trying to like just putting zero effort into the slop and just collecting the paycheck, which they think is just, money owed to them. And then that's why there's all this money going to catering and stuff and these hotels, and they're just partying it up, living their fucking life, just taking all this money that's supposed to be spent on, making the art. And that's why we have these inflated budgets. Yeah,
you didn't use quotations, but I heard them in your words. Making art.
Well, I sincerely believe that some of the best artwork out there is something where you can blatantly disagree with what it's actually telling you, but it's told so well you can still respect it in a way because it's kind of engaging you on such a basic level, I guess.
Well, like even books are like that sometimes too.
Yeah.
The picture of Dorian Gray. I disagree with almost every message in that book, but it's very well written. And AC, what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, political parties don't completely own ideas, right? So like the idea of being anti-slavery could be construed as like maybe leaning towards one side. But that idea is actually as old as humanity. As long as there's been slaves, there's probably been people that are against it. You know what I mean? I digress, but you don't own ideas, and people can always write about these universal evils and truths, right? If you just stick to universal truths, then that goes a long way, right?
Hey guys, keep up these earnest movie titles. Keep it going. I love this.
It's gone way a good day.
I want
Dude, they keep. I wasn't going to say anything, but they keep coming.
Should we vote?
Justin, you knew this would happen when you picked Ernest Goes to Camp.
No,
I was waiting for a long time with my High School Musical stuff. I set it up. I'm like, I don't even need to release the video. It's fine. And then I wake up the next morning. Ernest has 10 percent points higher than me. How?
Yep.
I was like, I love Ernest, and I'm used to losing, so I just assumed it was going to be another one, and I'm like, whatever, I tried. So I didn't expect the Ernest love, but I'm also not surprised at all.
Also, real quick, in honor of the great sea wife, Seabats, F the socialist.
Based.
There you go.
By the end of this stream, we're going to be calling Kahuna the Ernest Kahuna.
Yeah. No.
That's how it starts.
They're like, maybe if you're more earnest, you would have a sea wife too. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But yeah, we got to hear Otter's impression at some point tonight.
Oh, Otter's Cartman is so good, dude. It's at least as good as my Trump.
But oh my god, you guys, it is like so cold in here right now. You guys wouldn't believe.
Frankly, best Cartman I've ever heard.
If we were better
back to the topic.
What we're seeing is a period of decadence within a upper royalty class, like a royal class of incestuous.
Kind of like the splurge of the 1920s.
Decadent barbarians,
yeah,
running the show, and they're all just mixing with their own kind until it's kind of reached this eventuality, and it's all bought and paid for by outside companies like BlackRock. But I digress.
Yeah.
Missouri Breaks has been spotted in the chat. Hail, Gerard Kreisman.
Hail,
tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I bring up Sanderson because it's like right now he's like the best. I'm sorry, I keep bringing him up. He's the person in the best position to break into the mainstream and start to make like a huge shift. Are there other people in the position?
He's the dude with a fortress. Like my metaphor earlier. Yeah, he has a fortress. Yeah, and people need to. Yeah.
There's other people as well, and we can see more down the line. But right now, he's got like the most popular book series, and he's not selling the movie rights to anyone. He's going to do it himself. And if those movies, if they end up being a success, that could be big money and also a lot more investors possibly. And then we can actually see like a legitimate change. And he's also the guy that made made Amazon. He said, "Fuck you! I don't care if I lose money. You need to start treating other
your authors and your buyers correctly." Yeah,
which is awesome.
And they listened to him. Amazon, listen to this guy.
I mean,
sorry,
to be fair, Brandon Sanderson's voice does actually sway opinions. Like,
a lot of opinion.
Fan base to go behind it.
It sucks because us and a lot, majority of everyone else are kind of just like hoping that somebody like this can do something like that, and also we have to hope that they have to keep doing the right thing. It's kind of like the Elon Musk thing, right?
The Ernest Manifesto.
Oh, holy crap, bro!
Oh man!
Oh, you guys are killing me, man. The 10 Ernest
commands. Yeah, but no, it's like don't like that we have to rely on like one person at top. It sucks, but it's kind of like it is what it is. It doesn't. These things don't make changes without somebody taking the lead, and if that's going to be Sanderson. This can be Sanderson, right? I hope more people start to really show up and start to make huge impacts like Sanderson has done with $1 million. But yeah.
The Ernest you shagged me.
I'm trying to figure out if our viewers prefer the tangents or if they like us to stay locked in. That's one thing I'm not sure.
You have to have a little bit.
They're still going, man. They're just running with it.
I like that one. The importance of being
saying, you know what I mean. Ernest in space.
I feel like there's going to be a rise in indie creators in your ability to create things at not quite Hollywood levels, but closer. just because the AI is getting better. I was watching a video the other day on AI video editing, where it's one thing with art. If you need to hire an artist to do a single artwork, that's something that is like, okay, one guy, one gal, I hire this person, they do the artwork, we're done here. But then you start looking at, okay, I want to make a movie. Well, what are you going to do then? You got to hire somebody to film it that owns a camera. You need You need to go to a location. You got to bring in boom mics. You need actors.
You just mentioned
you have to edit people. Have people edit the tags out of the ears of cows. There's a lot to consider.
Yes,
no, I mean, like it is a
problem like that.
I just pulled that out of my hat. Not.
Yeah. But if you could have AI clean up something like that, anything,
it would be pretty cool.
Yes, there's also
you can do that now. I saw it in the editors coming down the pike. You just select it, and it just.
I agree, but we have a huge shunning of AI, which, like you just said.
Oh my God, Ernest list.
You can have one person, Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could have saved one more.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that is your wife, so you're in a rock and hard place there. I think.
Just wait, you could just wait, But
why are there so many?
Glorious Ernest,
the man with the golden Ernest. Oh, forgetting Ernest, Marshall.
That's cool.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Joe. That was just.
That's right.
He's like it's completely fine,
Yes.
Anyway, Joe, continue.
Dude, if you change the topic, I completely forget what I think. I got
no. It's decadence. Decadence, brothers. There's corruption. It's the classic fall of Rome. We've seen this time and again throughout history, except this is focused on Hollywood. Hollywood's bought and paid for by the East. East being Russia and China, and all the rest.
China.
That's their propaganda platform in the West. So
let me see if I can.
You need to recognize it for what it is. We need to decentralize, buy your friends' books, support your friend authors, and build up IPs from there. We'll all get different sized fortresses. It'll be like Mad Max for a little bit, and then it'll settle, and then it'll be like Lord of the Rings with like Aragorn as king, right? Minas Tirith and stuff like that. It'll be cool.
I understand why the chats are down here, but that's what's getting me off track too. We were talking about AI. You were going to make a point about AI and people being against it, I believe. Does that jog your memory to get you back on track at all?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
Yes.
So.
Yes. CGI.
Right. Like you said, it's way more foreseeable with using AI to have a small team or even just one person making some pretty legit content and not requiring a huge amount of money and a huge team and stuff like that. And then, then you start to have art by committee and whatnot. So, that's why it kind of sucks that AI is a cursed, it's a cursed word right now.
Yeah.
And I do get it. It's like we don't want AI to be used for to replace people that have talent and whatnot.
Terminator.
Yeah, and the AI books get thrown up a lot, but has anyone bought and read a fully AI book? Is that
no, I never have.
I feel like that's kind of hoopla.
Why would you even buy it? It's something that doesn't even have any real value. Just as much as you can pay for an AI book, you can also just prompt for an AI book for free.
Yeah. Yep. Especially that's what baffles me. It's like AI for certain things, like math related problems and for running certain systems. It makes a lot of sense actually. And I've talked to Kihumon about this a couple of times. He explained it in a way that actually partially convinced me. But for art, it feels very soulless most of the time. There are exceptions, and heck, even some of the images stuff that we're using for promotion, some of that is partially AI mixed in with some of our own work.
Yeah.
Justin, are you reading the names again?
I'm trying really hard not to. I'm sorry, man.
They're Nightmare on Ernest Street. Jeez.
Keep going. I mean, Bats is gonna yell at me again. I'll put it over here. I'm sorry, chat.
I'm looking at him. He's just barely keeping it together.
Dude,
But
Sure,
yeah,
you can
the end goal is obviously human artists, human CGI, but you got to build that fortress up, right? And it starts off as a raft, and we're all just floating in these iron seas, and you get other rafts that float along, and you can lash them together, you know, and we can eventually build a fortress one stone at a time and trade with each other. And
yeah, it's like in the Iron Seas. Eventually, islands will rise up,
Yes.
and that will be the new mainstream. Eventually, again, this all takes time, and people will say it's impossible. But how do you think all the Hollywood institutions started? Think of how many times, like, we always thought of Disney as the eternal institution, but look historically how many times it's almost completely disappeared. Many times.
Well,
This is
I
like
think
such
there's a cycle to it. So it's like you are eventually going to have like all of these creators, all of these different people who hold power eventually coming together. Then after a while it starts to decay, and then you get a new sort of decentralized power, and over time it starts to unite and the cycle continues. I think something similar is there with art.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, is it too hot of a take to say that the lever that will get this group to being on par with the mainstream is AI? Is it the thing that is being fought against, but is actually the ticket to getting to that level? Unless you want to ride it out for a longer period of time.
I think AI is cheap and expedient, but it's not always better. That's the biggest takeaway.
It's going to make some
heavily
great
flawed
YouTube
depending on
videos.
how you look at it. AI is very good at certain things, but when it comes to cohesion, it is absolutely terrible.
yeah,
Consistency, yeah. It's.
I
I mean,
mean,
there's still
trying
like.
to fix it, but it's still very flawed, and a lot of
Sure.
it comes down to sheer volume of derived data.
Stop it, Coop. Stop it.
I'm sorry, they're really good, dude.
I know. I hit all my stuff. I hit it all.
Oh,
Fuck, Otter, what'd you just say? I had a comment to it, and I just it's gone.
I'm so.
I believe I was talking to it was about where AI is terrible at being consistent.
Being consistent.
So a lot of
Yes.
how AI is broken down, you can break it down to the actual models that are being fed into the AI. That's what's quote unquote training it, or what it's learning from. And the way they try and fix it is they try to give it just enough data, like we're talking like gigabytes, terabytes of data, whatever, to where it can make a good generalization. You say, oh, I want a landscape painting. It has enough where it can kind of generalize what you mean by it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to get a good idea.
Well, I was even with these tools and being able to, like, you know, make really excellent projects and stuff like that, it's like the old guard, the greats, like gatekeepers of Hollywood and stuff like that. And maybe it won't be Hollywood, maybe it's somebody else down the road, but like I feel like there's still this whole thing of marketing and whatnot that's going to require a lot more people and everything to actually be, like, I guess, considered mainstream. Unless YouTube like content will be the mainstream of the future. Yeah.
Well, it kind of like consider how many people use YouTube. I don't think I'm trying to think of another platform with long form content that sees the amount of traffic that YouTube does, and I don't know if how many of those there are. Also, Swiss Family. Guys, you guys broke back. Guys, okay, we have to stop. We have to stop.
No, we have to go back and read them all out loud at the end of the stream.
Ernest goes to Ernest.
It would take the rest of the stream just to read what they've done so far.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin turned off his camera. He can't focus, dude. I got rid of him as a joker. The Ernest.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. Hey, guys, we need to focus here. So, hey, Otter, as a wait, we have to do our. Oh, I don't have the. I don't think I have that one. Darn it! It's such a good switch. Okay. To rinse and repeat.
You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast.
Make sure to like this, subscribe, it helps us out a little bit. And please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.